tonight.
Facebook tonight. Facebook it is. Pow. Pow. How do I do it? It's on your mind. How do I do this again? Oh, here we go. Got it. After this?
Yeah, probably was
I'll do that.
not
We won't
chance.
do that. We done got one boo boo. We ain't gonna do another. I'm gonna be out of coffee before we even start.
You want to refresh real quick?
What up, Todd?
Just grab me a bottle of water out of the fridge.
Welcome to Rodney Rogers Outdoors. Please stay tuned for the most exciting hour of your life. Goodbye.
I like your haircut.
Like it?
Yeah, it's good.
Bald?
Yeah, it seemed like it's freshly shaved.
Yeah. I like to keep all the hairs even.
You did a good job. Do you date yourself, or you have
Yeah,
somebody do
no, I've done it for myself 10 years.
it? Really?
Yeah.
Beard too?
Yeah. It's a lot cheaper. I've saved, with the money I've saved, more than Geico.
I think it's the weight you've lost.
Is it? Yeah.
You look fresh tonight.
It's the 10 pounds.
Might be that Salt Strong.
Like, it's the Salt Strong.
Salt Strong t-shirt.
Salt Strong brothers knew I had this on. They'd be proud.
All right.
What up, everybody? Hey, Jennifer. All the fool's at.
You're listening to Rodney Rogers Outdoors Radio, where we turn it upside down and look at the outside from the inside out. It's safe, it's legal, and we're having a blast. So put your shoes on, my friend, because we're going outdoors.
Welcome to Rodney Rogers Outdoors. I am Rodney Rogers. That right there is my partner, co-chief in crime.
This on? I think we're rolling tonight, Rodney.
Mike the man himself. Mike Coy, how are you, brother?
Good.
Woo!
Did some refreshing.
We're up to date.
I've cleaned the screens. Actually
you did.
Yeah, that's technical jargon for I cleaned the screens.
So you are. So we were ahead of the game last week. Mike was so technologically ahead of the game that we actually couldn't have a show last week.
Yeah, I'd like to personally apologize to YouTube
for being one step ahead.
Because we put all the blame on them.
We did actually.
YouTube's down again.
We got that doggone YouTube.
Google, get it together.
We're
trying to do a show here, and you can't keep your servers up.
Right. We're like a $1.50 show griping about a $15 billion industry.
So yeah, so confessions, and not to get technical, but I run. I mean, this show's pretty much run on Apple.
Right. Yes.
This is an iOS show.
One bite out of our Apple and we're done.
We switch on an iPad, and I run beta versions of everything. I'm part of the beta program, so
touch you.
I'm just about 6 months ahead of what comes out as a public release.
I got you.
So one of the new updates disagreed totally with the application we were using, and so I've bailed out of the beta program, at least as far as anything that's involved in this operation here. Restored everything. We're back to good.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Fine job.
Yeah, I apologize for last week.
If you want to participate in the show tonight, give us a call. Art. 262-345-7763 is the phone number to our show tonight. If you want to call with any questions, I know I've gotten a ton of questions. I said, hey, call in the show and ask us there. You can hashtag us right to Mike's face.
Yep.
He reads it right on air. On tweeters, you can tweeter us. Hashtag us at hashtag RROR. And Mike will read the question right here on air. We may even get a phone call from Savanna from California.
Don't tease, really.
We'll go into that.
Okay.
We'll go into that. So, Mike, your weekend.
Meanwhile, we're on vacation, or Tuesday night vacation.
This is our 1 hour vacation. This is what we love doing every Tuesday night. You can, if you're listening to us, you can actually see us on every social media platform, YouTube. You can see us live every Tuesday night right here, coming from the studios. And we even have can you see our mascot in the background?
I love that.
Peter Updike's alligator he made.
Have we named it?
We have not named it. Maybe the audience can.
Yeah, we need some suggestions.
Yeah.
Post on Facebook. We'll post a pic. Need to post that tomorrow.
Yes. And say, name our mascot.
We need a name for the mascot.
So Peter gave us an alligator, so we got to name him. Good job, man.
Yeah, it looks good over there. Love it.
Absolutely. So we get to have fun for the next hour. Mike, I will tell you that I was on the Monsters this week. We were talking about the fish kill and the panther video.
Yeah, there's a couple things that and the fish kill was fresh.
Yes.
If there's such a thing as a fresh fish kill.
Actually,
last week when we were not on the air, so I was disappointed about that because that was pretty much when it was going down.
And it's still pretty much news because we're going to be talking about this fish kill for quite some time.
Really?
Yeah, I think this is going to affect us on 10, 12 years. I think it's really going to hammer us.
What's the current status of it right now?
Well, right now they're still trying to...
First of all, summarize what the deal is.
First of all, we have a big fish kill over on what we call the Treasure Coast.
Okay.
And this is the Indian River Lagoon system. Now, what I tell everybody, that the system is 156 miles long. Russ with the Monsters was thinking we were only dealing with about a mile stretch, just a little fish kill. And he was kind of thinking we'd just clean up the fish would come back in, everything's hunky-dory. But that's not the case. What we have is a 50-mile stretch of this brown algae, what they're calling the brown tide, and it's literally cutting off all the sunlight and killing the grass. So basically, we have a system that's dying from the top to the bottom, because when you kill the food chain, then you kill it all.
Sure.
Remember, we've got all the fish feeding on the mullet. The mullet were the first to go. We have sheephead going. All the bait fish, the mud minnows, everything on top are now dead. the grass is dying off. Manatees eat the grass. The dolphins eat the mullet. So we have dead porpoise. We have dead manatees. So we've got a lot of bad stuff going on over there right now.
How extensive is it? What animals are taking? Are manatee dying?
We have a few dead manatees. Now they're still trying to figure out the cause of that. They don't know if it's directly from this brown tide or something else. Me being a backyard scientist,
Yeah.
obviously, it just proves. Now, there are more manatees there, so why aren't more dying? And there's no saying that there
What's
won't
the
be.
current status of the algae?
It's at its highest
Okay, so
point
it's
right
there.
now, and it's only going to get worse because the warmer it gets, the worse it's going to get.
Okay.
So right now, it's contained in about a 50-mile stretch over in the Indian River Lagoon. It's not in the Mosquito Lagoon. They're doing very well as far as fishing goes in the Mosquito Lagoon, which is very north end, and it's not at the very south end past Sebastian Inlet. So it's right in between those two areas.
It's right in the Cape Canaveral area then.
Right, it's right in that Cape Canaveral area. And one of the things was, and a lot of people think, well, why can't we just open up the locks, right there at the Cape Canaveral, which go out into the Cape Inlet there. And the reason is they tried this several years ago, and the reason is when we open those locks up, the sand piles up in the waterway there, and the cruise ships can't get in and out.
Oh wow.
So it's while we got to figure out what's more important, our fish industry or our estuary there, or those cruise ships, and we all know where that answer is going to be. It's going to be these cruise ships. So the Army Corps of Engineers have spent thousands. When I say thousands, I mean up to $20,000 trying to do a survey of what the best option is. It's like I told them on the monsters. If we had a solution today, if we knew for a fact what we were going to do today, we probably couldn't touch what the plan would be unless it's a non-invasive plan, which is no such thing in this case. We wouldn't be able to touch it for 5 to 10 years. So, and most of it is just basically we've got to punch some waterways out to the ocean and relieve, this waterway of its stagnant non-mobile, because we've got, fertilizers pumping into, because, man, I get passionate sometimes, Mike, and I get ahead of myself. In the 1930s, 40s, when we had this stretch here, we had about 400,000 or 500,000 acres dumping off into this estuary as far as water runoff. Now, with all we have, we have over 1.5 million, almost 2 million acres of land dumping fertilizers, streets dumping, their water in. I mean, it's just tearing it up, and it's only going to get worse. If you look up one of the gentlemen on the website, I follow him. It's No Fill, No Kill.
Okay.
And he's been fighting this stuff for years.
Is he the one who submitted the aerial photos?
Yeah, I mean, he's done so much for this lagoon. This is his life. I mean, this is a $3 billion industry for the people of this area, over the last 10 years. So it's a big deal.
Wow.
I mean, guides are going to be, hurt by it. People who live on that water, the crab fishermen, we've got stone crab. That's a big stone crab area there. Not sure if they're dying. Wow. Because they're at the bottom. We really don't know. We can't see. But I do know that they're not producing as many crabs. I got a buddy, Jason, that crabs out there, and he's just not producing. Last year we were pulling in 15, 20, 30 crabs in a pot, in his 10 pots, and now you may get lucky to get 2 or 3. So it's affecting everything from the top to the bottom, and this is a big deal. This is definitely going to hurt us for a long, long time, So, yeah, it's definitely something that needs to be addressed. So, the residents and the fishermen have been saying this for, I know, at least 20 years. I remember this as a kid in high school, listening to this potential brown tide, and just little fish kills that it's done over the years. And this is probably the biggest so far. Wow. You got the Okeechobee pumping out at the south. You got, this brown tide up here in the north. I mean, this estuary is getting pounded from both ends. So it's just not good for, things that we do. Yeah. I mean, this affects us. long term, because that's where we do our video that we shot right there.
Yeah.
We're not going to be catching fish there for a long time because the grass is dead, and I mean it's just a
very
bad thing.
sad.
Yeah, so the locals will feel it first, and then the rest of the state will feel it. So hopefully it stays contained in this area, and hopefully something gets done about it, some kind of plan. So
Sure.
did I go on about that or not? I didn't mean to bring the whole show down. With
No,
this whole.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's important.
So
We'll be following this, obviously. And
yeah, millions
trying
of
to gather
65,000 pounds of fish were pulled out on the first. I mean, that's a lot of fish.
That's a lot of fish. Yeah.
I mean, that's just. I mean, if someone went in and just netted 65,000 pounds of fish out of that lagoon, every federal official would be in their face tomorrow, writing fines and wanting to hang some people. So this is no different in my book. This is you can't. This is something that's not going to be brought back very easy. So
let's touch on that panther video.
Let's do it. So if you've seen this panther video, it's actually the Corkscrew. It's called the Corkscrew Wildlife.
It's down in Naples, right?
Yeah, it's down in Naples. If I'd have known it was there, you and I would have checked while we were down there. That was pretty cool. This lady comes across. She's filming. She sees something moving ahead of her. So as she sees it, she notices it, and then the panther notices her. Now, the panther could have just jumped the rail and went into the swamp. Come on, man. Why get your feet wet? So
yeah.
That's pretty much where, most animals take the path of least resistance. This panther is no different. So the panther, she films it, and you hear her go, oh, my God. And all of a sudden, you hear the hooves of this 140-pound, 160-pound panther running down this boardwalk right at her full blast. And she holds that camera steady, and it comes right in on her, and then right beside her, I mean, literally, he hits himself up on that rail to keep from running her over, and oh my God.
I never, because when I first watched it, I got the chills, because especially with her voice, and you can hear in her voice.
Oh yeah.
But it never actually registered to me that she kept that camera pointed at
like a rock and followed it all the way by.
Yeah, and followed it.
I thought that was impressive. I'm not sure I wouldn't have passed out.
That's more than impressive. Maybe she was watching it through here and it didn't seem real.
Right.
Maybe she was looking at the screen. There's it takes away a little bit of that authenticity when you're
You know what?
viewing
You're
it
absolutely.
through,
I didn't think about that. And panthers in your screen are closer than they appear. You know what I mean?
But when that thing flew by, I mean,
you could hoof.
That could have gone
100 directions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, as it rounded the corner, you saw right away that it was scared. I mean, I could tell.
Yeah, it was in defense. I mean, it wasn't in attack mode. It was in I'm looking for an escape. Right?
I need to get out mode. Not that I would have seen that in that position.
Sure.
I'm really not. I'm not sure what I would have done.
Because probably turning and running would have been the absolutely wrong thing to do.
Oh yeah.
Because then you're
natural instincts. Yeah. You're kicking in their attack mode, and you're trying to get away.
So she obviously did the right thing. It turned out well, and she got a cool video.
Yeah, she's got the only video.
Number one, to see a panther in the first place
is amazing. Which in the 70s we had an estimated 20 panthers in the state of Florida. But let's just give it. They couldn't count them all. Let's say we had 50. Now we have an estimation of 170, 180 panthers, anywhere from 160 to 180 panthers. So that tells us we're doing something.
So another 3 years they'll have panther season.
Gosh,
right after bear
Mike,
season.
I swear, if that happens,
I mean, never say never, right?
Never say never.
I mean, we just had a bear season.
I can't say it won't happen, but you know what? Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's pretty wild.
So yeah, that was something else. So, but I can only I'm trying to get her on our show. I'm trying to figure out who it is and how to get to her. If you're listening, and I'd like to have her in the next couple of weeks. She's probably getting bombarded with interviews.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her on one yet.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. Speaking of bear population,
lay it on me.
One of the FWC's news releases, this was on March 24th, so this was actually last week. But it says that the recent completed scientific estimates of black bear population in Florida indicates the statewide population is now 4,350 adult bears. New population estimates reflect how conservation measures have propelled the growth of the Florida bear populations from the 70s, which was a level of 300 to 500 bears, to their abundant status today. Just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
How, like you say, the conservation methods
are working.
Work. Comparison of 2002 and 2015 estimates indicated bear numbers nearly doubled in the East Panhandle Bear Management Unit, and populations now estimated at 10,080 bears. So, anyways,
yeah, that was their newest bear thing they put out, and I was impressed. I actually read it, and I was impressed.
So it's good. I mean, it's working, and obviously they're doing the same thing for panthers. It's coming from a lot minimum number from if it was 20, back in the 70s.
You know what? I said this several years ago. Someone I was talking to, one of my nephews, and we were talking conservation and why do we have limits and why is this and why is that, and I said, and here my exact words to him, and I remember it. I said, here's the thing, you may not notice it. I said, I definitely may not see it, but when you get my age, you're going to start seeing it, and your kids are really going to see the benefits of this conversation.
Yeah, sure.
So that's where it's going to come in.
You know what that sound is, right?
I think we got a call. So those are the people that are going to see it. Thank you for calling Rodney Rogers Outdoors. Who do we got online?
Hey, Rodney.
Hey,
it's Savanna.
Hey, Savanna. You are the best. Thank you so much for calling, because I want to talk to you about what you have going on.
Well, thank you for having me on your show. I really do appreciate it.
You got it. So, Savanna, I got Mike here. I haven't even told Mike what you have going. He's probably seen it on Facebook. So give us a little brief synopsis of what you got planned here, which is a brilliant plan, by the way, and I got a good feeling it's going to work.
Thank you. Thank you for your support. And because a lot of people I talk to start out pessimistic, but by the end of the conversation, I've been able to turn them around. I just did an interview with the Orlando Sentinel.
Oh, nice.
At first, they were like, so could you tell me what you're doing? And I was like, I'm going to buy a $3 million alligator park and live in the back of an alligator. And they were like, how do you expect to do that? And I was like, go fund me.
You know what? I've seen people raise $200,000 on potato salad, Savanna. So this is very good potential.
Well, we got to start from the top, because you've got my interest.
Okay, so now Mike is. Honestly, I have not talked to Mike about this.
No,
I wanted to surprise him if I could get you on the show.
Surprise!
So,
Hey,
so tell us what you got going.
So here's what happened. There's a television production company that's been talking to me for a while about doing a reality show about me or something like that. And so they asked me if I had ideas, and I kind of did, but I kind of didn't know what direction to go in. And I had an interview scheduled with them actually today. And so over the weekend or last week, it seems that Jungle Adventures Nature Park and Zoo went up for sale. So
oh my gosh.
I called the owner on my break from my waitress job on Saturday.
Right.
I called him at his house because I have a lot of friends in Florida, and they gave me his home phone number. And I told him what I was going to do, and he kind of laughed and said he thought that sounded like a good plan. And I set up a GoFundMe for $3 million. And I have $700 right now. That's incredible. In almost 2 days, I have $700. Less than 2 days, really. And so my plan is to try and buy that park, and then raise $3 million, buy that park, live in the alligator, and then work the alligator farm, because it's an old roadside Florida attraction.
This is the one out in Christmas?
Yeah, this is the one in Christmas.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, I just looked at a foreclosure house for sale out there that I want to buy that's not 2 miles from this place. So.
Oh, good, because I'm going to need your help, because I've already decided.
Right.
I've already decided, since the governor of the state of Florida has decided to dump pollution in all our waterways so it kills off all our fish,
Yep.
that I'm going to set up native fish section in that place, so that everyone can, so we can breed native fish, and also so that people can come and learn about the fish that are native to Florida.
That's a brilliant idea, Savanna. It really is.
Well, lots of other ideas too, but that's one of them. It's funny that I talked to you today, so I could tell you about that part of it, because they don't even have an aquarium that has all the native fish in Florida, and there's some amazing fish in Florida.
Absolutely.
It's a brilliant
You know
idea.
what's funny is when I saw you talking about this, my wheels started turning right away.
Yeah.
I thought, because I've been in there and I'm thinking this thing is missing it has literally so much potential, and what it needs a Savanna shot in the arm, and it really does, because that's what Mike and I do. We do Florida. We do wildlife of Florida, and I noticed that even even the other ones, small parks like that, just don't have what I think would catch the eye. So Savannah, so far, I think it's brilliant. I'm behind you 1,000%.
They're kind of drying up. All those old Florida roadside attractions and all over the country. I love Disney and I love Universal and I love all those places. But let's face it, if you're a waitress, you're a single mom, if you're just a construction worker making ends meet, you can't afford to go to those places. But you can't afford to pay $10 to take your kids to a nature park, see wild animals, maybe hold a couple of them, interact with them, take some pictures, and actually learn something at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
That one's authentic.
Yeah.
I've always said that one's authentic.
Absolutely. I agree. So Savannah, you just thought about this on a whim? You just said, it kind of hit you at the same time, or is this something you thought about before?
Over the weekend, I've always wanted.
Right.
I didn't always want to live in an alligator. That's just an added bonus.
Right.
But I have always wanted to train and work with alligators. I work with snakes and lizards at a reptile zoo out here in California, but alligators are what I love. Alligators, monitors, crocodile monitors, all of them, because they're thinking animals.
Absolutely.
They're really smart. They have memories. I just got back from Australia. I walked into the reptile zoo, and my favorite alligator there, he's about 8 feet long. His name is Gator. And as soon as I walked in, I was like, Darth, wake up, I'm home. And he just woke up from where he was laying and jumped down in the water and swam up to the glass and let me pet his little nose. They're smart animals, and Florida has a billion of them, and I just think we need to appreciate them.
You're 100% right. Mike and I we just went down filming in the Everglades about a month ago, and I think Mike even seen a side of these things that both of us did. I mean, the alligators were immense, and no one can understand how these things think. They think because they have a small brain that they're not capable of, they may not be able to solve an equation, but they are very smart, and they can pick up on patterns. And I mean, these things are smarter than we give them.
And here's an example. The 3 alligators that we have living in a enclosure next to a water monitor enclosure, and there's a wall in between the two, but they can see through it, both on each side. Well, when we change out the monitors in the other side, they know that it's a different monitor. And I have seen them swim around their enclosure, gather up sticks and leaves and put them on their head, because they don't know what the other thing eats, but they know it's a different thing, and try to bait the other monitor into coming over.
Oh, wow.
I've seen it happen. And I would video it, but I knew if I went in there with my phone, I was going to disrupt the balance of it.
Right.
But I've seen it happen. They're really smart. I also think they need to put in an invasive species area there, because there are so many in Florida, and not just the berms. Let's cut the berms out of the equation.
Yeah, exactly.
There are monkeys in the Ocala National Forest, and people aren't out shooting those.
I've seen them there when I was a kid, in the late 70s, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're right. We actually saw the monkey there, around that area. So
there are veiled chameleons down at Tom Crutchfield's house in his backyard. I could walk out there and catch one. If I could bring it back to California, I could sell it for $500.
Wow. That's amazing.
Wow.
Because I saw monitors years ago when we were down in Everglades. So, I mean...
Well, there's just so many. That's what Florida is, a melting pot of strange animals and people.
Amen.
And it should stay that way. They shouldn't sell that park off to somebody overseas who doesn't care about it. They should sell it to somebody that loves Florida, and that's me.
Absolutely.
It's got your name written all over it.
Absolutely.
It really does.
And I'm going to call it Savanna's Jungle Adventure America.
That's a mouthful,
big
but
sign.
it's got Now, is there an
Because
acronym
it's
for
really
that?
not just for me.
No.
It's not just for me. It's for Florida, and it's for preserving Florida and all the amazing things that are there, all the way back to the roadside attractions that used to be there before there were the big ones.
Yep.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll tell you what, you have our full support, and of course, you call me if you need me for anything.
I
Savanna,
will for sure, because in every interview they say, well, do you know how to do this? And I go, nope, but I guarantee you in 5 minutes I could call somebody that can answer your question for you.
Absolutely.
And that's you.
Savanna, I know you're just kind of putting all this together, and I'm sure your brain's going 1,000 miles an hour. But do you have a year, 2 years? What's realistic to think of something like this?
Well,
They're
here's the
selling
rest
it
of the
now, though,
story.
right? I mean, it's up for sale now.
They're selling it now. They've had investors come through. But just because an investor, if they're a Florida investor, an American investor, just because they come through doesn't mean that they can't let me come in and manage the park.
Right.
And while I'd like to buy it outright, I understand that that's a lot of money for anybody.
Sure.
So I talked to the television people today. That's the show that I pitched to them. Perhaps there's a way that guy might be nice enough to let me lease it or rent it for a little bit of time, film a show there, put it back in operating order, and make it into something great again.
I'll tell you this. I mean, a lot of people would think that this is a far-fetched plan, and you are closer than you think.
Mm-hmm.
I know, because I know people. I've dealt with investors for years, and you would be surprised on how quick investors like that are willing to dump money, win or lose, on their end, rather than pay Uncle Sam. You're going to hit the right ears, and, we're going to do what we can to help you. And I know people who know me, so when they see the post that I post, you'd be surprised, Savanna.
Wait a minute.
Really
you know people who know you?
Did that come out right?
I got to meet these
people
people.
who know your power.
I need to meet
That's
these
what
people.
that's what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of people that have a lot of faith in what we do and what we say, and a lot of them are investors, and I'm telling you, this is not far-fetched.
Yeah.
And I think you'd be surprised on how it could literally turn your life around overnight. I mean,
and I think it can turn everyone's life around. I think it can even have the potential to turn Christmas Florida around.
That's what I was
Let's face
thinking.
it.
Yeah.
It's backed up against Bislow, and here's what I get, because I'm in California right now. Every time something stupid happens with reptiles or fish or pollution or ecology in in Florida, here's what I get. Savanna, what's wrong with your people? And I can't do anything about it.
Right.
But this is a way for me to affect change, and change with little kids, teach them how to not kill snakes every time they see them, because they need those snakes to keep down the rat pollution, the rat population.
Yeah, you are definitely hitting home. I mean, I'm like you. I mean, we get posts and we get tagged and we get, hey, is this true? What's going on? What's real? I mean, I was on the Monsters the other day talking about the fish kill with Russ and them, and and that's exactly what we were talking about. And you're 100% right. And the next day I was glued to you. Then when you said, hey, I've got some exciting news, I'm like, okay. And then Monday you let it go, and I'm like, okay,
I think
she's
you
on
totally
something.
breathe some life back into that Christmas area, because there's a lot out there still to be offered. It's not over out there.
Oh yeah.
You
And there's a lot of good people out there that, they're hardworking people. They are the backbone of this country. And those people deserve to take their kids somewhere cool, too. Just because they don't have $100 for a ticket to go into a park so they can buy a $50 chicken leg doesn't mean that they shouldn't be able to take their kids somewhere.
You hit it right on the head. That's exactly right. And those are our peeps. Like it or not, those are our peeps.
Yeah, I would love that. I've been to Gatorland, I think, twice in my life, but I've been to Gator Jungle probably 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Because it's more authentic. You feel like you're really getting an experience out there rather than the...
Well, I don't know if you remember.
But it's been several years since I've been there, probably
years
6 or
ago,
7
there was
years.
an alligator alley down in Kissimmee. It was literally right off of Intercession City was the day, and that was the first alligator place that we went to. And that's what this one reminds me of. That little hometown. You know what, Savanna? I got faith in you. I really do. I mean, when I saw you post that, I was actually very excited for
But
you.
not to mention, I think, Savanna, you'd bring not only your passion, but you'd bring personality to that place. And, that goes a long way, too. Because I've been out there, but never really, the management never felt the personality of what the management was.
Yeah.
You breathe that into a place, and you breathe life back into it.
That's exactly right. Well, Savanna.
Right, and I've been contacted by every employee and ex-employee from that place. That's just like, go Savanna. That's how I got
great.
dude's home phone number. They were like, here's his home phone number. Call him at home.
Oh, that's great.
Well, don't underestimate your power and don't underestimate what you're doing. I think you're on the right track, Savanna. I really do.
Well, thank you so much for your support, and thank you for letting me call and let everybody you know. And, like, eventually this is going to turn into a dream come true. Like, what person in America wants to live in the belly of an alligator besides me?
I don't know. I think I'm not far behind you, I assure you.
I could see some cool parties coming out of the belly of the alligator.
Thank you so much, Savanna. I appreciate you calling.
Before we let her go, Savannah,
Thank you for having me.
where can people find your GoFundMe page?
Yes.
Oh, my Facebook is Savanna Bone. Savannah spelled like Georgia with an H and BOAN.
Okay.
And my Instagram is at Savanna Bone. And all that information is on the Real Radio blog. I don't know if you have a blog. You could put it on there too, Rodney.
We do.
Like, all that information is there.
We're going to dump it on our website, too. You'll be able to find it there as well.
Very good.
So, Savannah, my fingers are crossed, sweetie. And as always, I'm here to help out in any way I can. So.
All right. Well, I'm gonna hold you to that.
You know it. All right, sweetie. Thank you so much for calling.
I know there's a lot of renovation that I'm gonna need help with, and I need manpower.
I know a guy.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right,
Thank you,
sweetie.
Rodney.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Surprise.
That's cool.
That's what I was going to tell you about. You know, that's obviously, you know, that when I saw her post that, I thought, you know what? She could pull this off.
She absolutely could pull that off.
That's not a far-fetched idea. It really is.
Well, I don't even think it's far-fetched at all.
Yeah, it's
again, she's got the passion. She's obviously got the experience, and you know, that seems, again, I think that's got her name written all over it.
When you have those investors, and like I said, and I think what I was trying to say is, I know guys. I've dealt with investors for years, and I've seen them dump money into stupid stuff that just that is a known loss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Write-offs. I mean, there's a ton of things that they can dump into, and
no, because
okay.
No,
you had that face like dump into, huh?
No, because you can't turn that place into something that it's not.
Right.
Or you could try, but I think you'd fail.
Yeah.
Because it really is. If you've ever been out there, it feels like authentic Florida. It feels like you're at somebody's house who owns a bunch of gators, and you're in their backyard.
That's exactly right.
You know, you're not going. It doesn't have that. Traditional theme park feel to it.
Exactly.
Because you're out in real. You're not surrounded by Disneyland. You're out in real Florida there.
That you are, and it's like 10.5 acres of real Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as real as it gets.
But if she would go out there and, like I say, with her personality, if an investor would almost be foolish not to bring her
invest. I agree.
To let her be, you know, the front person.
She's got a voice. She's had it in Orlando for 20 years, so that's a jump on this.
That would be
it really is
a great foundation for her to build all kinds of
one of those
other
ideas
stuff
that's just crazy enough to work.
Good
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got my fingers crossed for her because I know she'll be calling us to. I see now. Look, there's a two-way street here. I see it being beneficial because the minute she posted it, I thought, God, I wish I had $3 million. I mean, it sounds funny. But, you know, it's there. Everything's there.
Yeah, no, that doesn't seem so far-fetched at all. That's fantastic.
Savannah.
Nice call. Thank you for that call,
so you
Savannah.
got it, man. So I'm always thinking about us, Mike, and I'm thinking about helping Florida in any way we can. That's what we do.
Got a couple updates for you. Then we're going to catch some viewer mail.
Let's do it.
Let's see. We had some people working while you were on the phone here.
Okay.
Tina Dorschel.
Okay.
Is the lady's name with the Panther video.
Oh, okay.
That's thanks to Randy.
Oh, right on, man. Thank you, Randy.
And
Randy.
I think there's a D in there, yeah. And Dawn wants to know what are your thoughts on the 15-foot gator killed in Okeechobee?
That is official. It is a 15-foot alligator. It's actually just under 15 feet. I think they're trying to score it. See if it's kind of close to the state record, 14.8.
I feel like I've been out of the pocket for about 2 weeks. This is the first I've heard about this.
Yeah. So I've been tagged on the picture. And, Mike, I'm going to put it up here real quick. I've been tagged on this picture about 3,000 times. So I'm going to see if I can figure this out. What's weird is me trying to – okay, is it a video? Okay, that's a video. Uh, it's notification. I don't know how to work the Facebook on the computer. With the phone, I've got it down pat. But on this thing, anyway, it's a giant alligator. A young kid killed this alligator on a hunt. I'm gonna get it up here. I'm telling you.
So
here we go.
Okay,
here we go. So
this
there's
is
the picture.
Is this okay, yeah.
Have you seen this picture? So basically, it's a alligator hanging from a front end loader. Now, when you see it, it looks huge. Which, I'm not gonna lie, it is huge. But if you see here, this alligator is on the left side of this bucket hanging, which it's about 800 pounds.
Yeah.
It is big. And then you see this kid. Well, this alligator is hanging from the front left wheel. The kid is standing by the far right wheel. So it makes him look a little smaller. I mean, look, it's perception.
Yeah, there's a perspective thing going on.
It's perspective.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for. So you have this perspective thing. Now, don't get me wrong. That's a giant alligator. That's anything above 14 foot is a absolute dinosaur. And this is exactly what this is. Now, they kind of set that kid back. You can see he's right there even with the other tire.
Yeah.
And that's about 8 feet away, 9 foot behind it. So
so take him out of the equation.
Take him out of the equation, and you've got a big alligator. Yeah. So this is legit. This is not somebody saying it's a 32-footer when it's not.
Yeah, because the fact of the matter, that kid is probably 8 feet tall.
Right.
They've just placed him in such a position that
They've just placed him in a position. So giant alligator, he got him on a hunt. It's not alligator season, which it's coming, but you can get landowner tags for alligator season for an alligator. So, not alligator season, but the application for the tags are coming up May 6th. So there's some updates there that we need to talk about in the next couple of weeks. So if we don't get to it tonight, we will get to it next. So
was this a legal kill, though?
This was a legal kill. Absolutely legal kill. It was a landowner tag on a guided hunt. So, yeah, it's 100% legal kill. So, It is a big alligator. It is just under 15 feet. I haven't heard the official measurement. I keep hearing under 15 feet. So, we'll see. We'll see where it comes in.
Is that a Florida record?
Florida record is 14 foot 8 inches. Wow, so it has to be bigger than that. It doesn't meet the Florida record for weight because it's only 800 pounds. And I believe the Florida weight record is 11. So, it could very well be length. So, we'll see how this goes. So, good job, man. I mean, definitely a giant alligator. What I wouldn't give to be tagging one of those bad boys.
To be a giant alligator?
To be a giant alligator. To live inside of the belly of a giant. Alive, not dead. So, there you have that. And do you have another? We got viewer mail.
Do you want to do viewer mail, or do you want to save it for next week and jump into our topic? Because
we're closing,
or we didn't have time for it. I'm going to be disappointed. If we
Mike, we got how much time we got?
We're stuck here again.
We're 20 minutes. Yeah, that won't be enough time for.
Let's do some viewer mail.
Let's do some viewer mail.
All right, Rodney, here we go.
We're alluding. We're getting to this.
I don't know what's
redfish
going on here. Here we go. Jeffrey from Boca Raton, Florida. Rodney wants to know, how does one go about getting their captain's license?
Okay, your general captain's license, it starts out what's called a 6-pack. So basically what you need to do is you need to get on the Coast Guard website and look up 6-pack license. That allows you to carry 6 passengers, for simple vehicles. It doesn't allow you to, you can be a guide with that. You can, remember, if you have someone in your boat and they are paying you for a service, you have to have a captain's license. It's one of the reasons that I stopped guiding for gator hunting, because if it's in a boat and someone's paying you, you have to have a captain's license. So it's a 6-pack license. It is a pretty gruel test. You guys have a lot of studying to do. It's my buddy Jason just got it. He had to have it because he was doing the flyboard. Remember the flyboard?
You have to have a
you have to have a captain's license for that. Yeah, they're considered in a vessel,
bizarre.
And it's in the water, and you're paying customers, and the Coast Guard says, you know what, enough of that. Let's put it on the captain's license. So they put a lot of people out of business with this thing.
Seems like that'd be a separate license.
More
experimental something.
Welcome to the government.
Wow.
So yes, that's the easiest way to get a 6-pack license, and you can be a guide.
Do you have any idea on the cost involved?
I
just
did.
Guessing.
It's less than it's right at a couple $100.
Is it okay?
Yeah. I know I looked into it once. I'm going to eventually get my 6-pack license. but it's going to be wild. You got to have experience. I've got tons of boat experience. I got tons of people that can sign off. That's got big vessels and stuff like that. So, yeah, research it. It's called a 6-pack license. That's where you start.
Okay.
So that's easy enough
And
for
is that a Florida governed thing, or is it?
you. It is a
If you get your,
it is a federal thing, but Florida has their guidelines for the. But it has to.
if
be
you get
through-
it in Florida, you only authorized a captain in
That's
Florida.
a great question. That I do not
Okay.
know. I'm sure there's some reciprocal states, but don't hold me to it because I'm really not sure. That's
Okay.
actually a great question.
And then, then you also got federal waters. I guess be interesting. I guess you'd learn that
Yeah,
during the course.
you learn that through the course. Yeah, that's exactly right. But you can go into federal license with your captain's license,
Okay.
with your 6-pack license. But
In the federal waters.
yeah, it depends.
Gotcha.
Remember, it's size vessel,
Okay.
it's occupants. So yeah, you can't drive a cruise ship with a 6-pack license.
Todd says he's working on his. Said it's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it's totally.
That's cool, Todd.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool, definitely.
He'd actually be a good captain. Rodney. Rodney?
Yes,
Rodney.
I'm here.
Hooks and Water at Hooks and Water says, if you could only fish one drop shot bait next year, what would you choose?
One drop shot bait next year. Honestly, it's a 4-inch culprit crawdad worm. If I had to fish a drop shot bait, I mean that would be it. It's literally just a little finesse bait, and it works. One of my favorite drop shot baits.
Really?
Yeah, hands down, I love it more than anything. So yeah, it's definitely phenomenal.
Okay.
So there you have it, 4-inch.
Question number 3. Johnny 9. Johnny 9.
Johnny
Remember
9.
Johnny number 9? Johnny, what was that?
Remember that Johnny?
Johnny, what was that?
Cartoon scientist.
I'm thinking the rope number 5. Johnny number
Oh
5.
yeah, Johnny 5. Number 5. Number 5. No, let's don't even go there. We're about to get emails, ain't we?
Here we go. When I'm this is Johnny 9 says, when I'm spooling up my bait caster,
Yep.
the line is always higher on one side.
Ah.
How do I fix that?
A lot of times when you're doing that and it's higher on one side, you're not letting it go through the guides of your rod. You're normally letting it go through the first eye, and you're holding it to one side. I know it sounds weird, but that's usually what's happening. Let the line go through all the way through your pole, and then reel it on straight. Keep your pole straight, and then reel it on that way.
You're not doing it because the reel should do it automatically, right?
The reel should do it automatically. But what happens is when you're putting it on one eye, a lot of times you're pulling it off to one side, but it sounds funny, but it doesn't allow it to literally spool the left side. So let it go, put it through every eye, and then reel it back in. That's the best way to do it. Voila. That'd be $45, please.
Does the way you hold the line or the fish? I mean the fish.
Yeah, the way
the fishing pole.
The way you hold the spool off to the side will pull it to one side of the eye. It doesn't allow it to go to both sides.
Okay.
And I know you have a guide that runs it back and forth, but it has a tendency to pull to one side.
Okay.
Visually, it doesn't make sense, but trust me when I say that's what you do. That's what's going wrong.
Okay.
So there you have it. That's that one.
Have you conquered that one?
I have. It's happened to me before. Literally, I'm like, how does this even work?
Does it make a difference on the quality of the reel? I mean, are there some?
Not really.
Really?
Yeah, not really.
Pretty much any decent reel should.
Yeah, any reel
accommodate that.
Should put it right on like it should be.
Okay.
It's you know, it's the what's the word I'm looking for? Not genetics, but it's the nature of the beast.
Okay.
Let's go that route.
When you go out, you take several poles with you.
I take 4 or 5 with me.
Are they
Yeah.
the same, or you
Nope.
mix them up?
Some of them have thinner lines. Some of them have thicker lines. Some of them have real thick lines. Some of them have braided lines. Some of them, I mean, it's a multitude of things, and it's basically come down to years of personal science, what
Sure.
I call personal science as far as fishing. If I have a light bait that I want to cast real far, then I use a spin cast reel with thin line that I can get this thing out there with a 7-foot rod. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So this is just years of what works for me. And if you're a fisherman and you're just getting into fishing and you go, hey, man, what's the one rod to do it all? We can point you in that direction. We got a guy, Anthony, that just messaged me on Instagram. It took me a couple days. The message popped up as a notification, but when I see the notification, I don't know where it's coming from. So sometimes it takes me a couple days to find it. So I finally found it. It was on Instagram, and he's going to the Keys. And he says, Rodney, I'm going to the Keys. We're going to be down there for a few days, or 3 or 4 days. I want to fish, but I really don't know what gear to get, what to, So he says, if you could just help me through this, maybe meet me at Bass Pro or whatever. So I said, by all means, I'm going to meet him at Bass Pro Shop. We're going to walk through this. I'm going to guide him through that whole process. We'll set a budget, and then we'll buy the gear according to his budget. Now, if he has an unrealistic budget in mind, I'll give him a realistic budget. You're gonna spend $200 or $300. So,
yeah, I think it'd be interesting to wrap your head around that, especially as a novice, because one thing is to give yourself a budget.
right.
But then you start adding in, because I know I've been in this position before. You have in your mind you want to spend $50 or $100, whatever, and you want to go and start asking questions. Next thing you know, you get so confused, and it's just back to give me one that costs $75.
Right.
I
right.
mean, because there's so many.
Yeah.
And you can't do it on your own.
No, it is tough on
If
your
you
own.
go into a Bass Pro Shop on your own, you're pretty much shopping by price.
right.
You're not.
And
You're
most
not getting. You're not learning what you're
That's
getting.
exactly
You're
right.
just getting a fishing pole.
And most of the time, you walk out empty-handed because you walk out twice as confused as
Yep.
you were when you walked in.
Yep.
And that's what when I'm up there doing my demos at Bass Pro Shop, you'd be surprised how many people I walked through the last time, and we had to put this gear together.
I think the last time you did a demo at Bass Pro Shop, I was one of those people you were walking through finding a fishing pole for. Actually.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you were. Yeah, actually, you were. That's right. We actually did that, and I probably walked 6 people through that weekend, and many that wanted to walk through with me that we just didn't have time for. And they ranged from age. 2 young boys came in at 14, and when they saw me demoing on the tank, those boys had a couple $100 budget each. They had saved up. They knew they were serious about fishing, and they were like, okay, we want to do this the right way. I've got $200 to spend. And I said, great, we need to go to a Bass Pro XPS rod, and here's why. I explained to them why. It has a warranty, 1-year warranty, kind of like I was telling you. And then we need to get you a reel, that's in this budget, and, and get this line if you're going to do this. So we walked them through, man, and they walked out with, right in their budget with fishing line, a reel, and a rod that's going to last them till they're, if they take care of it to my age. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely 100% way to go. Those things can get totally confusing. Just because that reel feels good on that rod doesn't mean it's going to be a great combo. Just because you bought a combo doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be fantastic. So yeah, it's a tricky, and when you got someone, not patting myself on the back, that's done this for 35 years.
Well, there's no substitute for experience.
That's exactly right. It literally comes down to, I've been there, done that. Trust me when I tell you, kind of thing.
What's the number one thing you look for in a rod and reel setup?
Balance.
Really?
Honestly, it is absolute balance. How it feels in my hand, because I know I'm going to make 500 casts. And if my arm wear, I've got a rod that I rarely use because, 30 cast into it, I'm switching hands. My arm is just wore out. So I look for that balance.
Okay.
And I know, and a lot of times that's in the rod. It's more in the rod than it is the reel.
Okay.
If your rod seat is in the wrong spot of a reel, then it's too far forward, and your arm is just literally wore out.
There's adjustments for that? Or?
No, unfortunately, there's not. The only adjustment is find a new rod.
Okay.
So that's where I have those combos that just don't work.
Huh.
And when I take people fishing, I go, hey, you use this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but honestly, most time when I take people fishing, I give them the more comfortable rod.
Sure.
I want them to enjoy the experience. I'll be the uncomfortable one because I know how great this is. So I give them, the cream of the crop. I let them make the 100-yard cast and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, it's just literally it's that.
Well, I'm giggling because the last time we went out, caught up with you along the roadside.
Right.
You always the thing is, you always kept the rod that caught the fish. I don't know how you pulled that off, but it's like you sleight of hand. But you'd switch rods, but you did something in that handoff
to bring the fish
still
with it.
kept the rod that caught the fish.
Yeah, because you were actually, I was catching fish, and you
It's
said,
bizarre.
I said, Mike, you want to use this lure? And you go, yeah. So then I grabbed your pole, which had a total different bait on it, and started catching fish with that. And and you were looking at me like, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever it is,
Yeah.
And that's the experience. It's the speed of the retrieve. It's just,
And that was a great lesson on the fact that it is experience.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
there's things there that's beyond the physical thing in your hand and what's on the end of the
what I
line.
noticed, and pretty much I noticed here recently, is that my mind makes these adjustments without me knowing about it. The fish tell me what they want, and my mind automatically makes those adjustments. It's like cruise control. I automatically know what to do to change it.
Well, I think after you, again, experience, and after you've done something for 30 years or 25 years, you do. Try explaining something to somebody, unless you're a good teacher, which you are.
Right.
But try something you're just so used to doing. It's like driving. Even if you drove explain to somebody how to, you just do it naturally.
Yeah.
It's instinct.
Right.
And all these little nuances of fishing and knowing, how to, I don't even know, but those things are natural and inbred in you now,
And that's what I like fishing with you and your wife and Kim is you guys ask those questions that I would never think of because I've done it so long that I've honestly forgotten about.
Yeah.
So and I think that's the key. That's absolutely the key. So, it's like I said, it's just right there. So we're gonna go take him up to Bass Pro Shop and run him through the gamut and say, look, what are you after? What are you going to be doing? Are you going to be in your boat? Are you going to be in someone else's boat? How's this going to handle? Are you fishing on the side of the road? So I'll know which direction to point him, once we.
How about that picture of the peacock bass?
Which one's that?
The Robbie Spain. I know that's out of the blue.
No, didn't he post one a couple months ago? Or newest one?
Newest one.
Oh,
well,
I
you commented on it. Maybe
okay.
Maybe he just showed me.
Yeah, that was a couple months ago.
Because I'd never really seen such a good. They're beautiful.
They're gorgeous, Mike. I've been chasing this thing.
And I told him that, and he showed me the other day. I'm like, you got to send that to me because I want to send that to Mr. Rogers. He said he's already seen it. He commented on my Facebook page.
The minute he posted it, I was on it. Yeah.
And do you know where that was?
Where was it?
It was at Homestead, Florida, at the racetrack. He was down there working, doing a gig, but he was there for like a week or so, and he had all his gear with him. So when he wasn't working,
he was fishing.
It was the infield pond of the racetrack.
I'll be dang.
Rodney, he said he slammed like 30 of those peacock bass in that infield. He said he was just reeling them in left and right.
Wow. How do we get on that infield, Mike?
How trippy is that, though? I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But yeah, he hooked up like 30 of them.
That's all I once won.
I know.
I've been chasing his elusive.
But they were gorgeous. He was just flipping through so many.
Oh my God, the color in them, Mike.
Interesting looking fish.
So when we chase those, we are this year. We're going to chase them. We got a Facebook buddy on here called Alan Beecher. I'm gonna talk him into. He doesn't know he's gonna take us out, but he's gonna take us out, and we're gonna get some. And I want you to take your good camera. We're gonna get some phenomenal, amazing close-up shots of this fish.
I hadn't realized. I don't think I'd ever seen an actual decent of a photo of one.
Right.
But really good looking fish.
And that was released by the FWC years ago. We're talking in the 1940s, 50s.
What do you mean was released?
It's an invasive species that was released by the FWC to stop another invasive species.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on down there. They've released some really creepy animals down there that would.
So it's still an invasive species then, or is it
it's
not
protected
anymore?
now? You can harvest them, but they don't allow them to be over harvested. Now they're in our gamut of protected fish.
Really?
Like bass or anything else. So yeah, I think you can only keep one.
Wow.
And there's some rules to it, but nobody ever keeps a peacock bass. That's like keeping a marlin or something. You get looked at real funny if you say, "Hey, I just filleted a peacock bass today."
Yeah.
No,
I could see how that'd be the reaction.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
you don't want to be the guy. Don't be the guy, Mike. To keep that peacock bass or sailfish or something.
I'd love to be there when you catch your first peacock
Mike,
bass. 'Cause that'd be
I
cool.
want you to be so bad. I mean, I'm trying. It's going to be this year. I'm not going to stop until I do it. I mean,
We'll hire us a guide because that's always fun. That'd be a good.
I think
Get
that's
some
what
good video.
That's
That'd
what
be a
we'll
way to
do.
do it.
To get it on that
Yeah.
first. That's going to
Let
be
him drive the boat and we'll relax and.
cream of the crop. We don't have to.
Well, you
stress
know what?
out.
You know what day it is, Rodney?
Mike. Oh my gosh, it's already that time, ain't it?
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
Is it really Taco
Yeah.
Tuesday?
But besides that,
Other than that,
Rodney, I've got one for you. Ready?
lay it on me.
The old Indian chief sat in his home on the reservation smoking his ceremonial pipe, eyeing 2 U.S. government officials sent to interview him. Chief Two Eagles, you have observed the white man for many years. You have seen all his progress and all his failures. Chief nodded. He said, what do you think of all the white man has done? Chief stared at the officials for a minute, and he calmly replied, Rodney, well, when white men found the land, Indians were running it. No taxes, no debt, plenty buffalo, plenty beaver. Women did most of the work. Medicine man free. Indian men hunted and fished all the time. And the chief paused. He said, only white man dumb enough to think he could improve a system like that.
Hey, man.
Chief Two Eagle has a
Chief
good point.
Two Eagle make much sense. Except for the women working.
Yeah, that one. I tried to slide that one in real quick.
I caught it. You can email Mike at rodneyrogersoutdoors.com. Mike, I enjoyed the show. Thank everybody for listening. Savannah,
Yes,
thank you for calling.
absolutely.
Alan Beecher, thank you so much for taking us, volunteering to take us peacock fishing. And as my mama said, 18,337,216 times, you kids get outside and stay.